dark of the night, whispers of deceit.
Shadows dance on the walls.
Secrets they repeat, a shadowed figure
with eyes full of light.
Hiding truths in the shadows where no one dares to pry. Uncover the truth, let the lies come undone. Peel back the layers until the light is shown. Uncover the truth, let the shadows run. Break free from the chains and find the sun. Uncover the truth in the dead of the night, where secrets lie hidden like a whispered bite. Uncover the truth in the dim of the light, where betrayals take root in the heart of the fight. In the rain soaks.
You know, my dad had loved that song, and I was wondering, because you're capable of creating AI characters, could you create the AI band that sings that song and say that you're putting on a concert on YouTube?
I thought about that.
And do like a Patreon and charge money to see the band play.
They probably would have to become a little more popular than they are.
Well, no, the one gets a good amount of downloads. I think that if you,
I'm looking at my Spotify views for all my songs. I mean, it's, listen, I could do promotions, which I probably should do just to get some more, boosting of it. But without promoting at all, Spotify last 60 days, 633 streams on the songs. Let's see. I know iTunes is not much at all. No. Apple Music, 86 streams.
Yeah,
it's just modest.
It's just got to be people finding it.
Yeah, well, what it is now what's different is I can't find it anymore, but it was listing my my YouTube. Let me see here.
Yeah, YouTube Music.
Yeah, YouTube Music. Let's see, where is it? So like YouTube, June through July. All right, so it only goes through July. Has not been done yet.
Right.
Okay. Wait, let me see. Yeah, July's not reported yet. Okay. So all these numbers reflect most recent royalty reports. So the month before June, right? In June, so I don't have July yet, so that probably won't be for another, because they're so slow with the reporting of the stuff. This will make you laugh, actually. So I only had 4 songs at this point.
I remember, yeah.
So Rebel Republic in June did on all streaming services, which the majority probably is YouTube. That for us, just because we're so popular there already.
Yeah, YouTube, yeah.
Yep. So 2.8 million views. Wait,
that's insane.
Numbers reflect royalty reports sent by streaming service. Streaming service you sent. So 2.8 million. Is that? Let me see quantity. Let me see what it means. Hold on. Quantity.
It's got to be
streams. 2.8 million
yeah.
streams. And then the second one, because we only had 4 songs at this point. Billy's Brave Brew did 94,000. Billy's Brave Brew. Not much promotion on that one either,
Nothing.
The Rebel Republic, I put on a lot of stuff because it's like heavy metal. You can put it on.
Billy's we played like twice.
Yeah, we like Billy's actually probably a pretty good song. You know what I'm saying? So Rebel Republic we put on because we have the show, so I'm always putting it on, right? So, but Billy's Brave Brew, so 2.8 million. So I can't wait to see July when that comes out. My guess is July will probably be about 10x in views on across all platforms. Probably 20 to 30 million views.
Spotify doesn't get you more. Doesn't get more. We don't do a lot on that.
Yeah, yeah, I probably have to do what I do on YouTube, which would be pay attention to it.
Well, yeah,
You know.
but I mean, we could post it in some of our posts, like here the Rebel Republic song, and here's the Spotify link to it. I'd put it in the show notes.
To do that, like I could send you all
I'll do that
if it helps. I don't know. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, it usually does. I'll definitely do that. So,
Well,
continuing
anyway.
Bloodlines and Betrayal
Yes.
with our look at the Wild Wild West, we are talking about the legendary lawman himself. Since we talked about the outlaw, we go to the lawman, Wyatt Earp, and his battles with the Clayton brothers, Ike and Billy Claiborne, Frank McLaury, Tom McLaury. I mean, it was pretty crazy back then, and Wyatt Earp had principles and values, and we all know the famous gunfight at the OK Corral. And he hated being known for that, but that's what he was known for. But the Earp family was really legendary as far as becoming U.S. Marshals and, enforcing the law. That was his belief. And he made a difference after they went out west. So it was initially Wichita, Kansas. Now the issue, he got married. The issue was his wife at the time opened a brothel, and Earp was arrested several times, alleged to be a pimp of the brothel. So because he got arrested,
didn't he end up marrying a woman who was
yes,
a?
yes, he did, yes. But what's funny is because he got arrested so many times for the brothel, he was appointed to the Wichita police force because he was cool with them and developed a good reputation. And that's how his career started as a lawman. Unfortunately, he was not rehired after he had a physical altercation with a political opponent of his boss. And that was something that kind of plagued him his life. Like he was calm, cool, collected. When you got him mad and he got past that point, he didn't give a fuck. He became an assassin, which was just amazing. So the wife was Sally. That's the one who operated the brothel. And he ended up, it was 1878. He went to Texas to track down another outlaw, and he ends up meeting the legendary Doc Holliday. Doc Holliday, who we know from the movie, but in true life, Doc Holliday saved Wyatt Earp's life several times.
Right.
So the Earps were on kind of that western trail. They were heading west, just trying to find a place to settle down. He left Dodge, Kansas. He moved with his brothers. If you remember, he had his brother James and Virgil. Virgil in the movie was played by that legendary character. I can't remember his name. The guy with the mustache. You remember who I'm talking about? No.
Say that again.
In the movie, Virgil Earp.
Virgil, or that's his brother, right?
Is played by that legendary character with the mustache. I just can't think of his name.
Great actor. Okay, yeah. I
can't think of his name right now.
Sam, he's in Roadhouse, right?
He's in a bunch of stuff.
Sam. Oh, he does all the commercials for trucks. You know, when you hear Dodge truck and you know, that's him.
Yeah, he's got that great
He's
voice.
the greatest voice, the greatest deep like cowboy voice. Sam
Oh,
Elliott.
Sam Elliott. Yes, yes. That's
Yeah. At first,
that's
I wasn't sure
Virgil
who
Earp
he was
was.
talking about, like Virgil Earp. I'm like, but
He
now
was
I realize.
awesome in that
Oh,
movie.
Sam Elliott's the man, dude. I don't want to go off tangent because this is such a great topic, but since me and you both like movies, Sam Elliott in Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. Did you watch that movie as a
Can I
kid?
make a confession? I've never seen Roadhouse.
No.
I swear to God,
You've
I've never seen it. So that's
so
a movie.
disappointed.
That's a
I'm
movie. I
very
wouldn't
disappointed. I'm disappointed.
I'm
I'm
I
speaking
don't like
about-
dancing and shit. It would seem like a dancing movie.
It's not Dirty Dancing, which was a great
Okay.
movie, by the way.
I love Dirty. Now, I did see Dirty Dancing. I love Dirty Dancing.
Great movie.
I
It's the
never saw
same time
Roadhouse.
period. It's the same time period.
Okay.
But
So Sam Elliott's in Roadhouse?
Sam Elliott has had gray hair for 40 years.
I know
So
that. I know that. I can't believe he's in Roadhouse.
Sam Elliott was probably how old was he? Wasn't even probably that old back then.
No. I
Uh,
mean, he looks the same. He doesn't look
He
like
looks
he's
exactly the same. I'm telling you, the man is 81. Okay. So in 19
So 40 years ago.
So Sam Elliott's almost my father's age. Okay, so Sam Elliott was in Roadhouse in
Roadhouse was the 80s, right?
trying to see what it was definitely the 80s. I'm trying to think of what here we go. Roadhouse was in maybe it wasn't I thought it was the 80s.
Yeah, it was the 80s.
He's Virgil Earp in 1993.
Yeah, not that. Yes.
I guess they don't list Roadhouse because he was also in Tombstone.
Yeah, that's what.
Oh no,
that's
that
what
was
the
Tombstone.
movie-
That was the movie. He
that's
was
what
in
Wyatt Earp-
Gettysburg in 93.
Mhm.
Tombstone. Oh yeah, he was in The Mask. He was you didn't see that movie.
Yeah,
Mask. Not The Mask. Mask.
with
The movie with
Jim Carrey.
no, not that movie. It's
Mm.
called Mask. It was about a kid who had like
Mm.
a deformed
Yes, he was the boyfriend.
the boyfriend of Cher, I think.
There. Yes. Yes, I do remember that.
Okay. And he was kind of felt like he was old kind of then, right?
Yeah,
Like-
I cannot believe that. That
So
movie was early
85,
80s.
that was 85. I don't know when I'm trying to find his
Roadhouse had to have been 86, 87.
film. I guess he's done so many films they don't even have like filmography as here we go. Okay. Roadhouse was 89.
Mm.
So
I didn't
he
know it was that
he
late.
was already in his so in 89 he was 45. But he was
Did he
full
dance in that movie?
What's that?
Did he dance?
No, they fought. Roadhouse was fighting.
Oh, okay. So
All right, I'll give you the backdrop. You're gonna have to watch it because it is a little cheesy. You know what I'm saying? Because in the 80s, you got Patrick Swayze obviously
I love
hooking up
Patrick Swayze.
with some girl. He's gonna be hooking up with some girl.
He always does.
Yeah, yes. So that actually the girl in that movie. Did you ever watch Cocktail?
Mhm.
With Tom Cruise and
I love Cocktail. I think it's
so-
underrated.
you know the blonde that is with the British guy who ends up dying, who kills himself or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blonde that is with him.
Yeah.
She's-
Yeah.
She's the Patrick Swayze's love interest in Roadhouse.
Oh, okay.
So in that movie Cocktail, she's kind of like a bad guy, I think. Not a bad girl or
Well,
whatever.
she ends up ruining Tom Cruise's life too.
Yeah, right. But she's in Roadhouse, she's kind of like a girl that's a bad girl that Patrick Swayze makes into kind of a good girl. I don't know if there's any other way to explain it.
No,
But,
I'll watch it.
It's great, but the movie's about this.
I
They
didn't know.
basically work in a bar in a tiny town, and the bar is crazy. It's like must be the South, and it's like a bar that there's always fights.
There's always fights every night.
Oh, every night there's fights, and they have they bring in, the hire Patrick Swayze, who's it must be Texas. I think it's Texas. And he's in a small town in Texas. They hire Patrick Swayze to be the bouncer.
The bouncer, right.
Head bouncer. And they got a whole bunch of other guys. There's a lot of bouncers.
It's all regulars that come in and they cause trouble.
They cause trouble. And then there's a big businessman in the town that wants control of the bar. And Patrick Swayze is the one guy that's, standing up to him. And then his best friend from the olden days, back when they were kids, quote unquote, is Sam Elliott. And Sam Elliott, he brings Sam Elliott in to help him as a reinforcement.
Oh, Sam Elliott's such a badass. That's
badass. Awesome. And Sam Elliott's supposed to be washed up at this point. He's only 45.
That's such badass.
He's supposed to be washed up, but he comes to help. Patrick Swayze needs him to come on out and help him.
I can't imagine that I can't believe they would cast him in that role because there's such an age difference.
Well, I don't know if there's actually that big of an age difference between the two, believe it or not.
Patrick Swayze wouldn't be 80 right now.
Patrick Swayze's dead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He wouldn't be 80 right now.
Patrick Swayze would be 73. There's a 10-year difference. 12 year difference. Yeah. So he'd be 73 now, which is kind of crazy, but
no, he was awesome. That's why I love this movie. Was the first rated R movie I saw in a movie theater.
Oh, Tombstone.
That's why I remember it so well. Yeah. It was one of my favorites. It was absolutely one of my favorites. And I didn't know it was based on a true story. But the Earp brothers were legendary, well known, and they always were together, and they all were married. And the reason they kind of got into law was their father was a constable. So that kind of started everything. And Wyatt actually spent time as a constable too. And he became the justice of the peace. And that's why he strongly believed in law and order. Virgil was the one in the family who he was the one who got into the first gunfight, so to speak. It happened in California, and it was because a railroad brakeman named Tom Pinard was mocking Wyatt, calling him the California boy, which in those days meant a coward, implying that Wyatt had gone to California to avoid serving in the Civil War. And that was completely untrue. Wyatt wanted to join the army when he was 13, and his father stopped him, and he took offense to this dude mocking him. They fought inside a hotel, and Pinard drew his gun. So did Wyatt, and they exchanged shots, and Virgil was the one who connected and hit Pinard in the hip. So Virgil was a badass. And then it was in 1869 where Wyatt was married to the brothel lady.
Right.
Her name was Pemerla, but she went by Erla Sutherland. And that's what she did. She knew brothels, but she also developed a very, very, very strong drug addiction. to it was like morphine. It was began with an L. It was legal back then. Lanadram, something like that. I gotta check, but that's what she took because it was legal. It wasn't regulated. So the Earps were they were looking to kind of settle down, and that's why they kept making their way west. They went to California. They came back to Kansas. And they always got into like these skirmishes, which was hilarious. They would just be out, and people would mess with them. Basically, another time they were persuaded to steal horses, and Earp took part in it, and he was indicted for stealing a horse. And he left the state because of the indictment. And back then, they didn't really care and track you down. So that's when they went to Peoria, and that's when he got into law because of the brothel. They opened the brothel, and it was Wyatt and Morgan Earp, and his wife got the women. And the police were called there so many times that he just became like cool with them. And so they brought him on the law. They brought him on the police force. Even though Wyatt and Morgan were fined $44, and they didn't have the money. So they actually served time in prison for a little while. But that was kind of how it all started, which is amazing. Like, just because you're breaking the law and the police are coming to your business and they just think you're a good guy, and they say, hey, you should be a cop. And he became a cop for a little while. That's kind of where it first started.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, I never knew that. But it's crazy how he never really stayed in one place very long.
Yes, very antsy guy. I remember that.
He would always do something to just screw things up, and he'd end up getting kicked out, or he'd just leave. So they moved to Wichita, and he got a great job as a deputy. And his job as a deputy came to an end in April of 1876 when former Marshal Bill Smith accused him of using his office to hire his brothers as lawmen, which is true, which is what he would often do. He felt safe, and he trusted Virgil, Morgan, whoever it was, to be back to back with him. He didn't necessarily trust the other guys. Right. So because this Bill Smith guy, who's the marshal, accused him of this, Wyatt Earp beat the shit out of him in a fist fight. And he was fined $30. And he lost his job. And the local newspaper even reported, it is but justice to Earp to say he made an excellent officer. So, I mean, they're saying that he was a great officer, but the city council voted against rehiring him. So then he ends up going to Dodge City in Kansas, and he does cattle drives. And then he's appointed assistant marshal in Dodge City under Marshal Lawrence Diger in 1876. Now, this is the controversial part, and it's talked about in the movie, and I thought they did a great job with it. He met prostitute Maddie Blaylock. If you remember in Tombstone, the movie, she was played by a famous actress. I can't think of her name right now, but she was excellent. And he always kind of had a thing for her.
Right.
So he, maybe that's not the right one, but he and Morgan left Dodge, and then they go to Deadwood in the Dakota Territory again in 1876 with a team of horses, only to find that all the land was always tied up. Well, it was already tied up in mining claims. He was always looking for like gold and like these schemes to make money. He thought that, going to these certain areas, he'd hear stories, so he'd go. So while he was, Morgan returned to Dodge, Earp remained in Deadwood and made a deal to buy all the wood that a local individual had cut, and put horses to work during the winter of 1876 and 77, hauling firewood into a camp. He made $5,000, but was unable to file any of the mining claims. So he returned to Dodge City. And this is when, things got a little hairy. He rejoined the Dodge City Police. The mayor wanted him back, even though, he's got a history of fighting authority and, not taking orders well. But everyone agreed that he was this exceptional lawman. So one of the other big issues that happened, George Hoyt was shot after, and other drunken cowboys shot their guns widely around 3 a.m. This was in 1878 in Dodge City's Comic Theater, causing comedian Eddie Foy Sr. to throw himself to the stage floor into the middle of his act. Fortunately, no one was injured. Earp and another policeman responded, along with several citizens, and opened fired with their pistols at the fleeing horsemen. And Earp told one of his biographers that he saw Hoyt through his gun sights illuminated against the morning horizon, and he fired a fatal shot that killed him that day. And this is the Dodge City Times reported that Hoyt developed gangrene and died after his leg was amputated. But that was like his first known killing / murder. So the big move, this happens, this was controversial. So Dodge City, they loved, but after this incident, people thought that he was reckless and there was too much bloodshed. So they moved to Tombstone. He resigned from the Dodge City police force, and he traveled with his common law wife, Maddie, his brother, Jim's wife, Bessie, and then they reunited with Doc Holliday, and Big Nose Kate. That's an interesting name. And Virgil came as well. And there was a lot going on in Tombstone that they did not like. And Wyatt's philosophy was to stay out of it. And this is, you're talking about Ike Clanton and the brothers, and there was a lot of lawlessness going on. Wyatt just wanted to make money. That's all he did. He didn't want to get involved. Virgil saw the injustice and the crime and the fear people were having. So he was appointed deputy U.S. Marshal for Tombstone, which was big. And Virgil was to operate out of Tombstone, and it was a huge territory. It was like 280 miles. His territory included the entire southeast area of Arizona. Wyatt, Virgil, and James were the ones who traveled to Tombstone, and Tombstone was technically founded in 1879 with only about 100 people, and they were living in tents, shacks. The Earps arrived, and we talked about, and then Doc Holliday came as well. So once they got there, they kind of turned things around. Tombstone grew to over 1,000 residents. Wyatt brought horses and a buckboard wagon, which he planned to convert into a stagecoach. And he was trying to make, like, this is what I think is crazy. He made most of his money in Tombstone, and they showed it in the movie, if you remember a little bit. He made it as a professional gambler. So I don't know if you remember in the movie where he's playing cards.
Yep.
And he wins, and Ike Clanton goes ballistic over it, and he wins like a massive pot. So they were living in a casino. I think they provided security to a casino, but he was just a gambler. He did not want to be involved in law. He just wanted to gamble. So they also bought interest in another mine, and they bought some water rights. I don't know what water rights would mean, but they got really involved in business. So Wyatt was hired by Wells Fargo agent Fred Dodge as a shotgun messenger on stagecoaches when they transported Wells Fargo strong boxes, which I believe carried cash. In 1880, younger brother Morgan arrived, leaving his wife Lou in California. And then we talked about Doc Holliday arrived. And, Doc Holliday shows up, and he's got $40,000 in his pocket, which is an equivalent to $1 million today, 1.3 million, just from gambling. Doc Holliday was another notorious gambler. He would just dominate them. So this is when they started to have conflicts with the Cowboys. It was 1880. And one of the Army captains asked Virgil Marshall to assist him in tracking an outlaw cowboy who had stolen 6 Army mules. Virgil requested the assistance of his brothers, of course, Wyatt and Morgan, along with another Wells Fargo agent, and they found the mules at the McLaury's ranch. Now, the McLaurys are part of the Cowboys. McLaury was a cowboy, a term that in that region referred to a loose association of being an outlaw. Some of whom were landowners, ranchers, legitimate cattle. They herded cattle, but they found a branding iron that the Cowboys had used to change the U.S. brand into D8. Stealing mules was a federal offense back then because the animals were government property. So Cowboy Frank Patterson made an agreement with the captain. They persuaded them to withdraw with the understanding that the mules would be returned. The Cowboys showed up 2 days later without the mules and laughed at Hearst and the Earps. In response, Hearst printed a handbill describing the theft. He charged McLaury with hiding the mules. He reproduced basically a handbill in the Tombstone epithet in 1880. And then the McLaurys were pissed that, he didn't honor the agreement. They called Hearst unmanly, a coward, a vagabond, a rascal, and a malicious liar. And then they accused him of stealing the mules himself. And then this made Hearst nervous. And he cautioned the Earps brothers. He's like, listen, the Cowboys, they just threatened our lives. Virgil reported that McLaury, one of the McLaury brothers, had accosted him and said, if you ever again follow us as close as you did, then you will have the fight of your life. And then a month later, Earp ran into Frank and Tom McLaury in Charleston, and they told him they would kill him if he ever followed him like they did before. So it's getting heated. It's getting heated. Virgil, again, is the one. He's like, this cannot stand. And Wyatt was always just trying to tell him, listen, dude, we're just here to make money, live our lives. We don't need to get involved. Virgil takes on, he's appointed deputy sheriff on July 28th. And the sheriff's position was worth more than $40,000, which is equivalent to $1.3 million in 2024. Also, because he was a county assessor and tax collector, he was allowed to keep 10% of what he was paid. So Wyatt was still doing the Wells Fargo job as a shotgun messenger, because that's where they brought the money in. And he did the job well. And he was gaining notoriety throughout the newspaper. The local newspaper was praising him as a folk hero. So this is what changed everything. 1880, Fred White was the town marshal. The Cowboys were drunk, and they were shooting their revolvers at the moon. And Fred White got shot. And I believe Wyatt heard the shooting. He was at his casino. He ran, and he went to assist Fred White. White was trying to disarm Curly Bill. Curly Bill was part of this cowboy gang. The gun discharged, striking White in the groin. And Earp was throughout the shooting, Earp standing by a chimney that was struck repeatedly by gunfire, and it knocked him to the ground. And Wyatt, basically, his coolness and nerve never showed to better advantage than that night. When Morgan and I reached him, Wyatt was squatted on his heels beside Curly Bill and Fred White. Curly Bill's friends were pot-shotting at him in the dark. The shooting was lively and hitting chimneys and cabinets. And Wyatt, he was calm, cool, and collected, and didn't care.
Was Curly Bill played by?
He was in the movie too. Yes.
Was that played by Gene Hackman, or no? Am I thinking of a different movie?
He's in the other one. Yeah, he played him in the other one.
Oh, he did. Okay.
So now Johnny Ringo comes.
Johnny Ringo. Oh, I remember that. That's the best scene. when he goes, what's his name? Doc Holliday goes, Johnny Ringo.
Yes, and that was the only person that Johnny Ringo was scared of was Doc Holliday, because he challenged, or Doc Holliday called him out several times to have a shootout.
That's the best. One of my favorite scenes in the movie when he does the gun thing, and he's Johnny Ringo is doing the gun thing, and he's like swirling it around.
Yes, spinning it.
And then Doc Hollywood does it with a espresso cup.
Yes. He's drunk and he's doing it with the espresso cup. And I just love it when he says, "I'll be your Huckleberry."
Val Kilmer was great, dude. I love Val Kilmer.
Oh, I know it was a
Great
terrible
actor.
loss, but obviously the famous shootout was the legendary one at the OK Corral, the gunfight at the OK Corral. So things
Hold on.
came.
Can I just show it? Because it's such a great scene. I know it might
Oh,
get
you
us.
got it? You got a clip of it?
Yeah. It's such a great scene. Just for our viewers, just in case they.
Oh, it is a huge thing, but it could violate copyright.
It could 137. What is it? What is it? The copyrights? How long does it take? A minute, maybe. So
It
maybe
doesn't.
Yeah. Let's see.
It doesn't usually happen on Facebook. It only happens on Facebook.
It might have. All right, we'll play. We'll play up to a minute of it. It's great.
I love it.
Oh, hold on. It's not playing the sound.
You got the sound.
You have sound?
Yeah.
I don't hear sound for some reason.
You're not playing it.
Johnny,
Is there sound?
I hear he's real fat.
Do you hear sound?
Yeah.
I don't hear it. Must be because my Bluetooth or something. Oh, it's a great scene. Oh, sorry. He does the whole thing with it, you know.
And they're all looking at him. It's the explosive gun. And there was always, I remember there was always that fear, like Wyatt Earp knew that like he couldn't outdraw Johnny Ringo, and that was his fear. And Doc Holliday could, and Johnny Ringo was terrified of Doc Holliday.
Terrified of Doc Holliday.
He would fuck with Wyatt Earp, but Doc Holliday he wanted nothing to do with.
I guess I got to go out real quick because I froze up here for a second. I guess anytime
Okay.
No, I'm back. Good. But yeah, no, that was always the that was the fear. And you know, I wanted to bring up one thing before you go into the OK Corral, because that's obviously the big part of this whole thing when they all fight. There's historians are conflicted on Earp. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
It's
like
the
you
same
talked about
thing
earlier,
because they,
some think of them as enforcers, some think of them
as he
as
took
not
advantage.
noble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
It was
Clantons
because
and
the media back
McLearys
then.
and the Clanton and McLearys were obviously were bad guys, but Wyatt Earp was not exactly. He had a skewed morality.
He was more of a vigilante, in my opinion.
Yeah, even though he wasn't in charge of the law, he was right. Their style was definitely.
They were vigilantes, like they.
But
You know,
I love. To me, it was one of the things that sometimes in the Old West, a lot those things were necessary to progress law and
Yeah.
order. You know, which
Yeah.
was like if you look back from a historical standpoint, without ever being there, right? You could point to the fact that these guys were bad guys or good guys, and maybe Wyatt Earp was always out for blood. Obviously Doc Hollywood, that certainly was, right?
Well, Doc
Uh,
Hollywood was more out for money, but yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
but he loved a good fight.
oh
That's
yeah,
what I'm
he never backed down from a fight. But
right.
the problem was when the
And he
Earps
knew he
got
was
to
probably going to
Tombstone.
die too, which he did.
Yeah,
Um,
he had a
kind
sick
of had
death.
like a death wish in the sense that
He knew his time was limited.
his time was limited, so he wasn't above taking chances and
Right.
living it up. Like he obviously lived it up,
He did. He
and
burned the candle at both ends.
Bart burned the kid, probably figuring he was going to die. Without being him and without knowing anything, my guess is that Doc Hollywood probably said to himself, "It looks like I'm going to die. This thing ain't getting." Like, think about if you had a cold for a
Well,
long,
I
long
think
time.
he had tuberculosis.
No, he had tuberculosis. That's what he had. But I'm saying,
Yeah, right.
if
He
you
had
think about
TB.
when you had like a cold that never seems to go away, and you're thinking, "What the fuck? Am I dying?" You know
Yeah,
what I mean? He
yeah,
had tuberculosis forever.
yeah. For
Uh,
years and years.
Years and years, and back then, like, it wasn't like
There's
they
no
were
there's no vaccine.
there was no vaccine. They weren't solving those things, and him and his girl, Big Nose Kate, she took care of him, and
She did. She did. She was with him till the end.
right, like he was he's a guy who would have been a rock star if he wasn't dying. You know what I'm
He would
saying?
have 100%.
Like he was a
And
rock. He was still almost a rock star, but no one wanted to probably catch the disease. And Big Nose Kate probably was willing to be with him
right,
without worrying about death per se. You know what I mean?
right,
So,
and yeah, and he was good friends with the Earps,
oh,
and
they
he
loved him.
considered Wyatt Earp like his only friend. And I
Yes.
believe he said that on his deathbed. But people, I mean, the Earps again were conflicted in how they're remembered because they came to Tombstone and they kind of fleeced the place. They had several businesses that they opened that were profitable. Wyatt did the Wells Fargo thing, and the casino they basically ran. They made money off the casino by offering protection, and Wyatt was a gambler. Doc Holliday was a gambler. So the Cowboys didn't like that these people came into their town. They're setting up businesses. They're making money, and they get more, like, the violence escalates. So one of the other things that led to this was, and this was in the movie as well, in 1881, a stagecoach carrying $26,000, equivalent to 850 grand now, was coming to Tombstone, and it was robbed. It was robbed. The Wells Fargo messenger was shot, and it was robbed by the Cowboys. And Virgil Earp, along with Wyatt and Morgan, they went out, and they were just furious about it. They wanted to find the robbers. They offered a $3,000 reward. The robbery of mail carrying stagecoach with money was both a federal crime and a territorial crime. So there were federal and county authorities involved. So they tracked the robbers to a nearby ranch, and they basically, told them Doc Holliday's girlfriend had been shot. Fearful of Holliday's reputation, he confessed to holding the reins of the robbers' horses, and he identified Bill Leonard Harry Head, the kid, Jim Crane as the robbers. They were known as cowboys and rustlers. And then this is when the Earps pursued all these guys for 17 days. They rode for 60 hours without food, 36 hours without water. They had a horse die. Wyatt and Morgan's horses became so weak, the two men walked 18 miles back to Tombstone to get new horses. They pursued these cowboys for 400 miles, and they could not obtain more fresh horses and were forced to give up the chase, and they returned to Tombstone. And then there was another holdup, a stage car that got held up. Virgil Earp, again, furious about it. There were a couple arrests, but the people that they really wanted, they didn't get. So Ike Clanton, Wyatt Earp testified to this several times because, he was charged. He was under investigation. He testified that after the gunfight, that 5 or 6 weeks prior, he had met Clanton outside a hotel, and Ike told Wyatt that Doc Holliday told him he knew of Ike's meetings with Wyatt and about Ike providing information on certain people as well as the attempted robbery. And Ike now accused Earp of telling Holliday about these conversations. Earp testified that Ike never told Holliday anything, and he offered to prove that when Holliday was with the Clantons, he hated them, wanted nothing to do with them. And a month before the shootout, Morgan Earp was concerned, because they've been traveling all over. They've been trying to get these cowboys. And he actually was the one who asked Doc Holliday, who had left for a period, to come back. He'd been gambling in Tucson. It was Morgan who asked him to come back to help them. And Wyatt was pissed about it because he knew Holliday was not in good health. So it was the morning, October 25th, 1881, the day before the gunfight. Fred Dodge, an undercover detective for Wells Fargo, heard where Frank McLaury, Billy Clanton, Billy Claiborne were in town, and they were going to join Ike in Tombstone Wednesday afternoon and, have robbery. And they were looking to kill Virgil Marshall. So this was what happened. After Holliday's confrontation, they took him and they put him in a room to sleep it off because he was sick. They didn't think he could move. And it was dawn, October 26th. There was a card game that was broken up, and Tom McLaury and Ike Clanton had no place to go. The barkeeper asked him to leave. Clanton had been drinking all night, and he just wanted to get some sleep. But they were trying to convince him to get some sleep, but he wouldn't go to bed. He noticed he was armed, and he had a gun. And as soon as the Earps and Doc Holliday showed themselves on the street, the ball would open and they would have to fight. And he went down to Wyatt Earp's house. He told him Clanton had threatened that when Wyatt, his brothers, and Doc Holliday showed themselves on the street, the ball would open and the shit would be on. Ike said in his testimony afterward he remembered neither meeting Boyle or any such statements that day. So later in the morning, Ike picked up his revolver and he started entering the town. And by noon, he's still drinking, which is a violation. They weren't allowed to carry firearms, but they went and this is when they had the shootout. Clayton was looking for Holiday. He had a rifle with him. Holiday replied to the threat, "If God will let me live to get my clothes on, he will see me." And then at about 10, it was 1 o'clock, Virgil Morgan found Ike on 4th Street. Virgil pistol whipped him and disarmed him. And the Earps took Ike to appear before the justice of the peace. So they got him. Tom-McLaury was brought up as well. He arrived, and Virgil again carried a pistol, and he found it easier to draw. And witnesses reported that Wyatt drew his revolver from his coat pocket and pistol whipped Tom-McLaury with it twice. And that's how they got him. And then more cowboys come to town, and they're coming after him. And Wyatt and Virgil, they took their guns out, and they saw it was 4-on-2, and they started shooting. And it was a vicious, violent shootout. And everyone said, like, the fact that Wyatt Earp survived this is unbelievable because there wasn't much distance between them. And he was able to, like everyone said, like he was calm, cool, and collective. He was able to shoot with precision, protect himself, and disarm the cowboys at the OK Corral. He killed them and restored law and order. And this is when we see the famous scene where Doc Holliday and Johnny Ringo go at it. You remember in the movie?
No, I don't remember exactly.
So in the movie, Doc Holliday, they leave Doc Holliday in bed. And Doc Holliday tries to get up to fight. And Wyatt says, "No, don't worry about it. You're too sick."
Yes, I remember that. Okay.
And he's coughing up blood. And he says, "Yeah, I think you're right." So out of nowhere, Doc Holliday appears. And in the movie, if you see the look on Johnny Ringo's face, he looks like he sees a ghost. And Johnny Ringo goes like, "My beef's not with you, Holiday. Like, I got nothing on with you." And Holiday goes, "Yeah, well, I got beef with you." And he's like, and Ringo's like, "I don't want this fight." And he's like, "Well, I'll be your Huckleberry." I'll never forget that.
Johnny Ringo.
And it's hilarious. And so they're going at it. And he's telling him, "Come on, draw, Johnny. Come on, draw. And he's like holding up his hands, taunting him. And then Johnny tries to draw. And Wyatt had his hand in the pocket of his jacket. And he shot him with his hand, with the gun in his jacket. And it was over. And it was just such an amazing scene.
It is a great scene, dude. The movie is a kind of a little drawn out.
It's very long, yes.
Yes. But that scene, dude, that's like that. It's a lot to get to the greatest scene, which is like the casino scene with Holiday and Ringo. And,
well, they never go into the backstory really of
between the two of them. I feel like they must have been allies at one point.
Are you saying the Cowboys?
Well, I'm saying Doc Hollywood and Ringo originally.
They
I don't know. They seem to know each other very well.
Yes. Yes, they did.
Like,
Yes.
it almost seems like, I don't know if they were on the same side or fought. Remember, these guys were all, I don't know if Wyatt Earp was this, I think he was a soldier too. These guys all fought, or the majority of them fought in
The Civil War.
Civil War.
Right.
That you know what I'm saying? They all went their own paths eventually, right? But they fought in the Civil War, and I'd have to look into a little more on it to honestly to be certain, but the my guess is there is a certain amount of that some of these guys may have served either together or
Right.
fought in
They
a
they
similar
clearly knew each other.
right, fought in a similar war. You know what I'm saying? Because they did fight back then in the war. They were, I believe, they were Confederates. All these guys.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I find it so interesting the backdrop of the whole thing,
I do too.
and yeah, like I'd love to know more. There probably isn't much information, to be honest.
And then
You know,
if you actually see the proximity of the OK Corral and how small it was, and how like they managed to do this, and they said the historical context. They had a historical consultant on the film of Tombstone, and he recreated the OK Corral scene by testimony, because they all had an investigation and trial, by testimony not from really Earp or Clayton, who survived, but from neutral witnesses and partisan witnesses that had no say in the matter. And they all concluded that the Earps were the ones who described the situation accurately. Now, the only question is who actually started shooting first. That wasn't certain. Because
so in the history, here's what's interesting. I gotta read this to you. So the reason why Ringo was so upset was that vendetta ride where they tracked him down. He would kill his right when Morgan Earp was killed. That they went after Johnny Ringo. Wyatt never killed him. It said Johnny Ringo was found dead with a bullet wound to the head in the Chiricahua Mountains.
Yes.
Official ruling suicide.
Yes.
Likely while drunk and depressed. Conspiracy theories are Wyatt Earp or Doc Holliday killed him. Obviously, the movie believes
it was
that
Doc Holliday.
Yeah. Some people believe Ringo was ambushed by Earp's posse, but it still doesn't. Like, I asked even ChatGPT, like, how does Doc Hollywood know
Doc Holliday?
And there's like so little info on it. I mean, they were on the opposite. Like the Cowboys were Democrat leading ranchers, smugglers, and rustlers.
Like this went
and
on
the Earps
for
were
years.
lawmen backed by Republican business owners. This was a Republican versus Democrat thing too.
Correct.
And that means that the Democrats back then in Texas were probably also the original pro-slavery people. And the Earps are Kansas, right? More along the lines of...
Yes, that's where they primarily spent their time.
Right, more along the lines of, although the Kansas-Missouri line, Kansas would have been north-leaning and probably, at the time, Republican, right? So because that would have been during the time shortly after the Civil War and shortly after Abraham Lincoln, right? So a lot of them were Republicans. And so it's very interesting. Ringo, in 1882, Ringo was arrested with Doc Hollywood.
Oh, he was?
After a heated argument.
Oh, yes. Okay. That I
Some say
believe.
they nearly dueled in the street before being disarmed.
Many
Wyatt
times.
and Ringo knew each other through these Tombstone confrontations.
Yes. They
There's
all
no-
like every night because Doc was
They-
out gambling and drinking every night.
and so was
was
he.
Ringo.
Johnny Ringo.
And he always beat Ringo
Right.
in cards or whatever they were
He
doing.
must have been obviously Doc Hollywood was a former dentist, right? He
He really was a doc. Yes.
right. So he obviously was smart, especially for back then. How
Oh,
many
yes.
people decided to become a doctor? Probably not many. And he got probably got addicted to the drugs he was giving people. Is my guess. And
Yeah.
a lot of crazy things back then, right? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. But it was just crazy because I think it ended up Doc Holliday was bruised by a bullet. Virgil Earp was shot through the calf by Billy Clanton. Morgan Earp, I believe, ended up dying. Wyatt Earp was the only one unhurt. Tom McLaury, Frank McLaury, and Billy Clanton were all killed. And this is even more crazy. The sheriff, Johnny Behan, told Wyatt Earp as the wounded lawmen, were carried to their homes. The sheriff says, I'm going to have to arrest you. And Wyatt paused for 2 or 3 seconds and replied very forcibly, I ain't going to be arrested today. I'm right here. I'm not going away. You have deceived me. You told me these men were disarmed. I went to disarm them. And that was true.
That's somehow, I got to go on to another pod. So you can.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do.
This is Sam Elliott in 1989 Roadhouse, right? Gray hair. That's him. Like
he looks great there. He doesn't look like the gray hair.
No, he looks great, but like he's got gray hair already at 45, right? And then this is him. The guy was old when he was young and young when he was old, kind of guy.
Yeah, he's like Hulk Hogan.
Right? Like he looks great. He's 81 years old.
Yeah, he's like Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan always looked old.
He always looked old, but like when he was old, he looks young, like younger than his. Like he looks like he's 55 there.
He does. He looks like he's in his 50s.
And here he's 45 and he looks like he's 50.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. That movie, I'm telling you, it's one of those movies that I always
watch when it's on.
If you watch Roadhouse,
I'm gonna watch Roadhouse this weekend. Yes,
it's great. It's just pure entertainment. It's not what you would call it's not no 5-star movie, right? It's just pure entertainment. It's a guy movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's fighting and it's great. It's great.
All right.
It's so 80s. It's so 80s too.
Is your game tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yep.
Okay. Tomorrow at 6?
Yep.
Okay. I'll make sure to check it out.
We'll find out. All right, listen, let me run.
Yeah, go ahead. This was great.
This was great. It was a lot of fun. All right.
I can't wait to see the clips on this one.
Yep.
All right. Take care. Have a good weekend. Let me know how the game goes. I'll text you later.
I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.